Jaya Brinda Devi 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 Jaya Brinda Devi.
Thank you. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jabihari Gopi Janavadaba Girivadadhari Gopi Janavadaba Girivadadhari Yasodanandana Brajagana Ranjana Nana Brajagana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajagana Ranjana Nandana Brajagana Ranjana Namo Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Bihari Gopi Jana Madhava Girivadari Girivadari Gopi Jana Madhava Girivadari Vallabha Girivadari Yasoda Nandana Brajagana Ranjana Nanda Brajagana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Brajagana Ranjana Nanda Brajagana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Kunja Bihari Jaya Vishnupad Paramahamsa Bhagavacharya Acharya Satyashishi Mad His Divine Grace H.T. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Gauda Vaishnavinda Ki Nambacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Sakoshi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudeva Gauda Bhaktivedanta Ki ISKCON Founder Srila Prabhupada Ki Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki Vrindavan Dham Ki Mayapur Dham Ki Navadvip Dham Ki Jamuna Maya Ki Ganga Maya Ki Tulsi Devi Ki Bhakta Devi Ki Shishi Radha Golokananda Ki Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktarinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktarinda. So we're continuing our reading from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. We're still in chapter 19. And we're going to read text 191. 191. '19, 191. Excuse me, I'm kind of sniffling. Allergies are in our second burst of pollen. Okay. 191. The chief devotees and conjugal love, again, this is Rupa Goswami, and Lord Chaitanya speaking to Rupa Goswami, giving him instructions. The chief devotees in conjugal love are the gopis in Vrindavan, the queens in Dwarka, and the goddess of fortune in Vaikuntha. These devotees are innumerable, unlimited. Om Ganda Timuranda Shagaranjana Sakura Akshurumitam Hitai Sri Gurave Namaha. We've been reading a little bit about this in the Srimad Bhagavatam class. And we understand that the difference in the two is in the humility of the gopis. And it's described in the Chaitanya, not Chaitanya Bhagavat, but the, man, I've lost it. Gopakumar in his journey, speaking with Narada Muni. Huh? Yeah, Bhagavatam Rita, thank you. We'll get there. He's talking to Narada Muni, is giving him instructions because Gopakumar wants to go to Goloka Vrindavan. He wants to be with Krishna, but he's currently in Dwarka. And Narada Muni is there, Uddhava, the three of them are having a conversation. They're at Uddhava's house. They took Gopakumar to Uddhava's home. And they're giving him instructions, and they're saying, he wants something that we can't attain. We can't even, And so, in their line of, so they're still helping him, Krishna's arrangement. He tells them that, Narada Muni tells them that humility is the root of prema. That prema is born out of humility. It's when Krishna bestows this mercy onto us, we're at this stage where our humility is very prominent. It's like a prerequisite. But then when you get humility, the prema, then humility is born out of prema. Again, this is called utter humility. Dhyana, utter humility. So we practice humility now so we can achieve prema. It's part of the process. Chananapi Sanichena, it's extremely important. We tie that verse around our neck. It's so important. So here the difference in the gopis and the queens is the humility that the gopis have compared to the queens are a little bit more proud of their relationship with Krishna. Krishna belongs to me. I have him under my control. It's like a wife, she says, described that a chaste wife can control her husband through her chastity. Okay, so 192. So this utter humility is rarely achieved, Narada Muni tells Gopakumar. It's rarely achieved. It's very difficult. At the same time, by constant endeavor, determination, enthusiasm, we can all achieve it. Krishna's mercy and ultimately it's the mercy of the devotees. They're gonna help us along the process. Without it, devotees, it's just impossible. Okay, so 192. Attachment for Krishna is divided into two categories. One attachment is on reverence, and the other is pure attachment without reverence. Pure attachment without reverence is found in Goloka Vrindavan. Attachment which is on reverence is prominent, where attachment in which on reverence are prominent is found in the two cities, Mathura, Dwarka, and in Vaikuntha. When opulence is very prominent, love of Godhead is somewhat crippled. According to Kevala devotion, however, even though the devotees see the unlimited potency of Krishna, he considers himself equal to him. On the transcendental platform of neutrality and service, sometimes the opulence of the Lord is a prominent stimulus, but this transcendental mellow of fraternal, parental, and conjugal are minimized by that opulence. When Krishna offered prayers to the lotus feet of his mother and father, Vasudeva and Devaki, they both felt awe, reverence, and fear due to the knowledge of his opulence. When Devaki and Vasudeva understood that their two sons, Krishna and Balaram, who had paid obeisances to them, were the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they became fearful and did not embrace them. Purport. This verse, quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 44, text 51, describes what happened just after the killing of Kamsa by Krishna and Balaram. Vasudeva and Devaki saw their son kill the powerful demon Kamsa, and after this they were immediately released from their shackles. Balaram and Krishna then offered respects to Devaki and Vasudeva. Both the father and mother wanted to embrace their sons, but they understood that Krishna and Balaram were the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they therefore hesitated to embrace them. Their parental love for Krishna and Balaram was therefore hampered and decreased by awe and reverence. Text 198. When Krishna manifested his universal form, Arjuna became reverent and fearful, and he begged forgiveness for his past impudence toward Krishna as a friend. Thinking of you as my friend, I have rashly addressed you, O Krishna, O Yadava, O friend, not knowing your glories. Please forgive whatever I may have done in madness or in love. I have dishonored you many times, jesting as we relaxed, lay on the same bed, or sat or ate together, sometimes alone and sometimes in front of many friends. O infallible one, please excuse me for all those offenses. Purport. This is a quotation from the Bhagavad Gita, 11th chapter, text 41 and 42. In this verse, Arjuna is addressing Krishna, who is exhibiting his universal form on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. 201. Although Krishna was joking with Queen Rukmini, she was thinking that he was going to give up her company, and she was therefore shocked. We just read that chapter. While Krishna was joking with Rukmini and Dwarka, she was full of distress, fear, and lamentation. She had also lost her intelligence. She dropped her hand bangles and the fan she was using to fan the Lord. Her hair became disarrayed, and she fainted and fell suddenly, appearing like a banana tree knocked down by higher winds. Purport. This verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 60, text 24, refers to Krishna speaking to Rukmini in his bedroom. Just to test her sincerity, he began to joke with her, presented himself as poor, incapable, and unfit to be her lover. Not understanding that he was joking, Rukmini took him seriously and thought that he wanted to leave her company. This misunderstanding made her very unhappy, and her whole body was affected. Her fan and bangles fell to the floor, and she also fell down like a banana tree knocked down by high winds. 203. In the stage of Kevala, unalloyed devotion, a devotee does not consider the unlimited opulence of Krishna, even though he experiences it. He takes seriously only his own relationship with Krishna. Purport. When a devotee reaches the stage of pure, unalloyed devotion, especially in friendship with Krishna, he forgets the Lord's opulence, although he sees them, and he considers himself equal to Krishna. There is no question of actually comparing oneself to Krishna, but because a devotee is so advanced in Krishna consciousness, he is able to behave with Krishna as he would with an ordinary man. Text 204. When Mother Yasoda saw all the universes within Krishna's mouth, she was astonished for the time being. The Lord is worshipped like Indra and other demigods by the flowers of the three Vedas, who offer him sacrifices. He is worshipped as impersonal Brahman by saintly persons who understand his greatness through study of the Upanishads, as the Purusha by the great philosophers who analytically study the universe, as the all-pervading supersoul by great yogis, and as the Supreme Personality of Godhead by devotees. Nevertheless, Mother Yashoda considered the Lord her own son. Purport. This verse is quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 8, text 45. Those who are spiritually advanced forget Krishna's opulence by the mercy of Yogamaya. For instance, Mother Yasoda considered Krishna an ordinary child. Text 205. Although Krishna is beyond sense perception and is unmanifested to human beings, he takes up the guise of a human being with a material body. Thus, Mother Yasoda thought him to be her son, and she bound Lord Krishna with a rope to a wooden mortar, as if he were an ordinary Krishna, as if he were an ordinary child. Purport. This verse is from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 9, text 14. In this reference to Lord. Okay. We'll make it eventually. Okay. In this reference, the Lord Krishna is exhibiting himself as an ordinary child before Mother Yasoda. He was playing like a naughty boy, stealing butter and breaking butter pots. Mother Yasoda became disturbed and wanted to bind the Lord to a mortar used for pounding spices. In other words, she considered the Supreme Personality of Godhead an ordinary child. These pastimes are just so sweet. Krishna's pastimes are just so unlimited, so sweet. And as we just read, that the devotees and the queens are unlimited. There's universes in the material world, and unlimited. There's a description, it's like one mustard seed, a whole sack of mustard seeds. If you get rid of one, I don't know who it was, Vasudev died, or someone who wanted to take on all the sinful activities and allow everybody, get everybody liberation, free them. But Lord Chaitanya was saying, what is Krishna, what's one mustard seed in a whole bag of mustard seed? We know how big a mustard seed is. So, we say these unlimited queens, unlimited devotee, gopis, there's billions, because there's not only just in the spiritual world, but there's universes out there where Krishna's having pastimes in Dwarka. There's universes out there where Krishna's having pastimes in Vrindavan, because every universe at a certain particular time, halfway through Brahma's life, halfway through a day of Brahma, Krishna appears. And this is perpetually happening. One universe after another, because these universes are constantly being created. So in course of time, Brahma lives 100 times, 100 years, and so it's like 360 days times 100, and you see how many times Krishna appears in each universe. It sounds like a lot, but a time factor in Dwapara Yuga is 432, 864,000 years. That's Dwarpa. Twice what Kali Yuga is, yeah. And Kali Yuga is 432. And that's in one Mahayuga. Satya Yuga is 4 times that. And Treta Yuga is 3 times that. So you're talking 1,000,000 years in one. And Satya Yuga, that's pure, that's like the Garden of Eden, because there's no vices during Sati Yuga. All the yogis are Vaishnavas. Bhaktisiddhanta explains this, that they're all Vaishnavas in Sati Yuga. They all have good qualities. And then the sacrifice for that age is meditating. So they meditate we see this with Kardama Muni and his wife, how they meditated. Her father was Swayambhuva Manu. So he's the first Manu. Okay, so we can keep going. So the point is that we hear these numbers thrown out there, these billions and gazillions, and you multiply all these universes, not to mention just what's going on in Vrindavan and Goloka Vrindavan. Okay. When Krishna was defeated by Sridham, he had to carry him on his shoulders. Similarly, Bhadrasena carried Vrishabha, and Pralamba carried Balaram, the son of Rohini. Purport. This verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 18, text 24. When all the cowherd boys were playing in the forest of Vrindavan, the demon Pralambasura appeared in order to kidnap Krishna and Balaram. The Asura appeared disguised in the form of a cowherd boy. But Krishna could understand his trick. Krishna therefore divided all the cowherd boys into two parties. One party belonged to Balaram, and the other party belonged to Krishna himself. Ultimately, Krishna is defeated in his play, and according to the wager, the defeated party had to carry the victorious party on their shoulders. Krishna had to carry Sridham on his shoulders, and Bhadrasena had to carry Vrishabha. The demon, Pralambasura, had to carry Balaram. And when Balaram mounted his shoulders, the demon ran far away. Finally, the demon began to expand his body to a gigantic size. And Balaram understood that he intended to kill him. Balaram immediately struck the demon's head with his strong fist, and the demon fell down dead as if he were a snake whose head had been smashed. Powerful, Balaram. Translation. We're on text 207 and 209 through 209. There's 3 verses here. Translation. My dear most Krishna, you are worshiping me and giving up my company. Worship me and giving up the company of all the other gopis who wanted to enjoy themselves with you. Thinking like this, Srimati Rani considered herself Krishna's most beloved gopi. She had become proud and had left the Rasa Leela with Krishna. In the deep forest, she said, my dear Krishna, I cannot walk anymore. You can take me wherever you like. Then Srimati Radharani petitioned Krishna in this way. Krishna said, just get up on my shoulders. As soon as Radharani began to do so, he disappeared. Srimati Radharani then began to grieve over her request and Krishna's disappearance. See, there's a different mood there. See, we talked about that earlier, about humility. It's rooted. Prema is rooted in that. These verses are quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 30, text 36 and 38. Text 210. Anybody got any comments on all these? Anything? Get more nectar? Let's go. Translation. Dear Krishna, we gopis have neglected the order of our husbands, sons, family, brothers, and friends, and have left their company to come to you. You know everything about our desires. We have come only because we are attracted by the supreme music of your flute. But you are a great cheater. For who else would give up the company of young girls like us in the dead of night? Purport. This verse, quoted from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 31, text 16, describes how the gopis went to the forest for Krishna's enjoyment in the dead of night. The gopis approached Krishna to enjoy themselves with him in the rasa dance. Krishna knew this very well, but he was superficially trying to avoid them. He therefore addressed the gopis as Kitava. He was therefore addressed by the gopis as Kitava, a great cheater, because he first attracted them to come dance with him. And yet, when they actually came, neglecting the orders of their friends and relatives, he tried to avoid them by giving them so-called good instructions. These cunning instructions were too much for the gopis to tolerate. They therefore had a right to address Krishna as Kitava, a great cheater. They were all young girls, and they had come to him to be enjoyed. How could he avoid them? The gopis therefore expressed great disappointment in this verse. They came voluntarily, but Krishna was so cunning that he wanted to avoid their company. The gopis lamented. The gopis' lamentation was certainly very appropriate. And in this way, Krishna tested their sincerity. So we read how he tested Rukmini, how he tested the gopis, and we get tested at time to time. But we can see why he's the greatest personality, the supreme personality, just by reading these pastimes. That Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. I mean, when they came, he requested them to go back to your homes. He said, when you come here, it's not proper for you all to leave your homes. You should return immediately. Okay, text number 211. When one is fully attached to Krishna's lotus feet, one attains the samatha stage. The word samatha is derived from the word sama. Therefore, satyarash, the position of neutrality, means being fully attached to the lotus feet of Krishna. This is the verdict from the mouth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This state is called self-realization. Purport. The corresponding verse from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 3.1.47 follows. Okay? Text 212. These are the words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When one's intelligence is fully attached to my lotus feet, but one does not render practical service, one has attached the stage of Sancharati, or Sama. Without Sancharati, attachment to Krishna is very difficult to achieve. So we have these 5 rasas. Of course, it starts with, there's 2.5 described in Vrindavan and 2.5 in Vaikuntha. We just described the difference, awe and reverence and pure love. And so the friendship with love, thinking Krishna is one's friend and one's equal, as opposed to friendship like Arjuna was expressing as his friend, with awe and reverence. But there's also Sancharaj in Vrindavan. So they're all 5 there. Like the trees, the flute, the cows, the peacocks, these are also Sancharaj. So we can see that those are in this stage we're being described right here. And then you have those other 2.5, which are the cowherd boys, the gopis, Krishna's parents, even his relatives. There we know that if you want Krishna as your son, that can be achieved. Krishna can make an arrangement for anything. Right? So what happened? You have the pastime where Krishna, where Brahma kidnapped all the cows and the cowherd boys. And Krishna manifested himself as all those cowherd boys. For 1 year, he went back home looking as expanded as all those. And so every one of those gopis and gopas had Krishna as their son for 1 year. So Krishna can make arrangement for any to fulfill the desire of the pure devotee. Okay. Text 213. The word sama, or santaraj, indicates that one's attachment to the lotus feet of Krishna. One is attached to the lotus feet of Krishna. Dhamma means controlling the senses and not being deviated from the Lord's service. Endurance of unhappiness is titiksha, and driti means controlling the tongue and genitals. Purport. This verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, text 19, chapter 36. So we see a lot of verses here that Lord Chaitanya is quoting from the scriptures. He's talking to Rupa Goswami. And he's talking, and it's pretty amazing. This is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he's using all these references to support what he's saying. And we know that, of course, they have some, commentaries, like Sanatana Goswami gives a commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam. So they're well versed on these books, these verses also. But here we have Lord Chaitanya repeatedly, and when he goes to Sanatana Goswami, same thing. He quotes a lot of these verses. And as some of these purports tell us, some of these purports are on the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which was written later by Rupa Goswami. And so some of these verses we're reading here are included in his book. I'm sorry? Yeah. Well, there's some verses that aren't Srimad Bhagavatam, are not Bhagavad Gita, or, there are verses Prabhupada makes a point. This verse is found in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, that he added that. When he's talking to Rupa Goswami, he's preaching to him. This is the Supreme Lord. So in one sense, the Lord is also is manifesting Shastra when he's speaking to Rupa Goswami. In certain cases, it'll be pointed out. We'll see when we get to those. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is a nectar of devotion. Of course, he has verses from Srimad Bhagavatam in there too, and Bhagavad Gita. He has Rupa Goswami's included all that. So this is the precursor to that. And we'll see when we read the next 4 chapters, when he's talking to Sanatana Goswami, that we see a lot of those verses are found also in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami shared everything that they discussed with Sanatana Goswami with each other. This was their pastimes, that they constantly talked about the Supreme Lord, who was also their spiritual master. Okay, so let's keep going. The conditioned soul, this is the purport, the conditioned soul under the clutches of Maya, the material energy, is very much agitated by the urges of the tongue and genitals. Control of the urges of the tongue, the belly, and the genitals, which are situated in a straight line, is called driti. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Tara madhye jiva ati, loba maya sudrumati. Among the senses, the tongue is the most formidable enemy of the conditioned soul. Urged by the tongue, one commits many sinful activities. Although Krishna has given human beings nice food, people still commit sins by killing poor animals for the satisfaction of the tongue. Not being able to control the tongue, the conditioned soul eats more than he needs. Of course, everyone must eat to keep the body fit for the Lord's service. But when one cannot control the senses, he falls a victim to the dictations of the tongue and the belly. Naturally, genital agitation follows, and one seeks illicit sex. However, if one is fixed on the lotus feet of Krishna, he can control the tongue. Bhaktivinoda Thakur further states, Krishna Baba Daya Maya Kari Bari Jiva Jaya Sa Prashad Anadila Bahi. In order to conquer the tongue, Krishna has been very merciful and has given us nice food that has been offered to him. When a person is attached to Krishna's lotus feet, he does not eat anything not offered to Krishna. Radha Krishna Gunamai, Prema Daki Chaitanya Nitai. Since a devotee eats only prasadam, he conquers the dictations of the tongue, belly, and genitals. One can control the dictations of the senses when situated in the position of Satya Ras. Then one's advancement in Krishna consciousness is assured. This is actually how we started this Satya Ras. We are Tatashta Shakti. We're in the neutral stage. And then from the very beginning, this is described by Bhaktisiddhanta in many places, in his Brahman and Vaishnava. This book is included. If you don't have it, it's included in the folio. There's new folios coming out, and they're actually changing the folio, how they're doing the folio. Folio is being divided now, and it's going to be Vani and Vapu. So you have one folio, it's going to be nothing but Prabhupada's works, his lectures, and because we see a lot now, we have these other books in the folio here. And then they keep adding, the devotees who write books, they're adding. Now they're going to put that in a completely separate folio. So you're going to have two separate folios coming up. This is then our, and this is, I mean, this folio is pretty interesting. I mean, this actually, maybe most people don't know that, actually this started from the archives. This was a brainchild of Dulal Chandra. When they were in L.A., they went to a computer show, because he's really into computers, and they bought this shell. It's called folio. It's because it's the database shell that this information is put into. And so the very first one he created was the Bhagavad Gita. And he actually did it himself. He created the shell. He put in all the verses. He compiled the entire Bhagavad Gita. It was like a little floppy disk drive, and devotees could get it off. Y'all remember that little Bhagavad Gita folio, the very first one. But before he got that far, his computer crashed, and he didn't have a backup. And so he had to do it all over again. You know, it's a tough lesson. You know, this is early on the 80s, you know, and the computers didn't have a whole lot of storage to begin with. But Jalal was such a hard worker. He was extremely hard. He wanted to continue. He had this whole idea what they were doing. They wanted to get all these books, all the lectures transcribed into these different books. You saw the archives. They have all these books. This is all for eventually coming into the folio, and then they published them. So he continued working all day on these other projects, and then at night he would redo the Bhagavad Gita until he got it all done the second time. So, you know, sometimes we have these unsung heroes in our society, because we know Lochan did Prabhupada's Murti. Most people know that, you know, but we're thankful that for the archives, for a huge amount of work to get this to this point. This is like a huge amount, not to mention the programmers they had to use, you know, along the way. So all glories to the archives and their service to the Lord Chaitanya Sankirtan movement. Of course, now there's folios, a lot of them. There's books that, you know, Sri Ram Tommy talks about how he has a folio of, you know, thousands of books. I got one time, a folio of, I can't remember, Guru Das Swami. He left his body. Sridhar Swami, you know, he went to Sridhar Swami. What's his name? A sannyasi that, he was initiated sannyas by Prabhupada, but then went to Sridhar Swami. Huh? No. He was very popular. He left his body, you know, a few years ago. Yeah, him, Nrsimha Maharaj. And he had a huge folio, decent folio. Somehow I got a copy of that, but I don't know how I got it, and I don't know, it's gone. I've lost it. But it has a lot of books in it. You know. So there's a lot of them. You know, I know Shiva Ramaswamy talked about how he has a huge database. Okay, let's get back to, well, we're just about out of time. What time is it? Okay, that's it. We'll leave it right there. Anybody have anything they want to add? Anything? So we're stopped at text 214. Thank you very much. They put everything on one. Yeah. I don't know why they're going to split. I think because the books that are coming are expressive. It's called Desire Tree. It's pretty much there. You have this Vanapedia too. It's online. That's another resource, and they have the. But yeah, they're going to. I guess it's pretty much online now. It's actually okay. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga.
Adipurusham Kamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Kamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Kamaham Bhajami Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Nandar Agom Vikamaniya Vishesha Shobha Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Vasyan Vipan Vikayanti Jiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami 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 Govindam.
Kana Yashomati Nandana Brajabara Nagara Gokula Ranjana Kana. Second to the last page. Nandana Brajabara Nagara Gokula Ranjana Kana. Gopi Paranadana Madana Manohara Gopi Haranadana Madana Manohara Gopi Paranadana Madana Manohara Gopi Paranadana Madana Manohara Kaliya Damana Vidana Kaliya Kaliya Damana Vidana Kaliya Damana Vidana Amala Harina Mamiya Vilasa Amala Harina Mamiya Vilasa Amala Harina Mamiya Vilasa Amala Harina Mamiya Vilasa Vipinan Purandarana Vinanagara Bara Vamsivadana Subasa Vipinan Purandara Vinanagara Bara Vamsivadana Subasa Vipinan Purandarana Vinanagara Bara Vamsivadana Subasa Vipin Purandarana Rajajana Palana Surakula Nashana Rajajana Palana Surakula Nashana Rajana Palana Surakula Nashana Rajajana Palana Surakula Nashana Nanda Godana Rakovala Nanda Godana Rakovala Nanda Godana Rakovala Nanda Rakovala Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara Sundarananda Gopala Sundarananda Gopala Sundarananda Gopala Sundarananda Gopala Yamuna Tatachara Gopi Vasanahara Rasa Rasika Kripa Moya Yamuna Tatachara Gopi Vasanahara Rasa Rasika Kripa Moya Yamuna Tatachara Gopi Vasanahara Rasa Rasika Kripa Moya Yamuna Gopi Vasanahara Rasa Rasika Kripa Moya Shri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Nattabara Shri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Shri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Nattabara Shri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Nattabara Bhakati Vinodashraya Bhakati Vinodashraya Bhakati Vinodashraya Bhakati Naya Yasomati Nandana Brajabara Nagara Gokula Ranjana Kana Yasomatina Na Raja Baranagara Romira Ranjana Kana Amala Harina Mamiya Vilasa Amala Harina Mamiya Vilasa Amala Harina Mamiya Vilasa Amala Harina Mamiya Vilasa Govinda Madhava Navanira Tasgara Govinda Madhava Navanira Tasgara Shri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natabara Shri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natabara Bhakati Vinoda Shraya Bhakati Vinoda Shraya Jaya Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Radhe Jaya Radha Golokananda Nanda Ram Jaya Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Radhe Jaya Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Radhe Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Shri Gaura Nitai ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Golokananda ki jai. Lord Krishna is beloved son of Yashoda, transcendental lover in the land of Braj, the delight of Gokula, known by the nickname Kana, the wealth of the lives of the gopis, the attractor of Cupid and punisher of the serpent Kaliya. These pure holy names of Lord Hari are full of sweet nectarian pastimes. Lord of the 12 forests of Braj, ever youthful, the best of lovers, player of the flute, an excellent dresser, protector of the inhabitants of Braj, destroyer of the demoniac dynasties, keeper and tender of Nanda's cows, giver of pleasure to cows, land, and spiritual senses, husband of the goddess of fortune, butter thief, and beautiful little cowherd boy of Nanda Maharaj, wanderer of the Yamuna riverbanks, thief of the garments of the gopis, enjoyer of the mellows of the rasa dance, very merciful, lover and beloved of Sri Radha, the great dancer of Vrindavan, and the only shelter of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Harinam Sankirtan today in Durham between 4 and 6 p.m. this afternoon. It's going to be a nice day, warm, maybe a little even hot, but it's going to be really nice and sunny. So please come to 5 Points in Durham, and the directions are on the notification, the GPS setting, so you can find it easily, and there's parking nearby. So please come. Haribo. Chaitodarpana marjanam bhavamahadavagni nirvapanam Shreya Kairavya Chandrika Vitaranam. Whoops. Yanu Jivanam Anandam Bhuri Vardhanam Pratipanam Gunamrita Swadanam Sarvatmasnapanam Arvijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrapita Niyamita Smarane Nakala Etadrishita Vakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaiva Midrishami Hajjanina Nuraga Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Suhishuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Vajagadisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Janmani Ishvare Bhavatad Bhaktir Hoitaki Twai Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Buddha Kripayata Vapada Pankaja Stija Duli Sadrashim Vachintaya Nainam Galedashu Daraya Varanam Gad Gadrudaya Gira Purakarnishitam Vabrukada Tavanama Grahane Bhavishyati Yugayatam Nanichena Chakshusha Bravashayatam Shunayatam Jagat Sarvam Govindam Virahename Ashlishyavapadam Ratam Panastumam Adarshanam Marmahato Karotuva Yatatatava Vidadatulam Patomat Prananatastu Saivanapara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. Oh, my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you've invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. Oh, my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw on the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no attraction, nor do I have any for women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service birth after birth. O Son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Yet somehow or other I fall into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. Oh, my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up? And when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? Oh, Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me brokenhearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally. Shri Shastika Ki Jai.